Buongiorno, buon pomeriggio, and buonasera, Lazio world. Welcome to our instant reaction pod here to review Parma Lazio, a depressing match. Here to unfortunately review this one solo as our friend Caleb Adams did the smart thing, ran away from this one, and just like our Lazio today not showing up. So I'm here going to begrudgingly talk about this match that unfortunately I don't want to be the sky is falling pessimist, but I think the result here could be fairly damaging for any hopes that Lazio may have this season. But as usual, let's jump right into this one because there is a ton to talk about. And we'll start with the starting 11. We saw Pellegrini once again manning that left back position with Nuno's absence. Gila Romagnoli, our center back pairing. Lazzari getting the nod to start over Marusic once more. A midfield consisting of Rovella Guendouzi, I don't know if it's a surprise, but Dele Bashiru with a very rare start in this one. And then a trio in attack that is fairly consistent, at least when it comes to Serie A play. Isaacson back at that right wing, Tatti leading the line, and Zaccagni with Provedel, of course, in his starting goalkeeper spot. And this match got off to a flying start, both for Lazio and then, of course, for Parma. 2 minutes in, we have Rovella with an absolute banger, a brilliant world-class goal that sees itself ruled off due to a VAR check that spotted a foul in the build-up. Going to really love to hear from all of Lazio world. Let us know in our comments. If you're on YouTube right now live, let me know if you thought that the foul on Rovella in the build-up in the second minute was justified, because what I saw, it was very, very harsh, to say the least. I'm not sure in what world that is called a foul, or if it's not called in the moment. I just don't see any justification for that to be the reason why a world-class goal is wiped off. And it's a player that made a bit much of it. Rovella's fighting in between two players. Was there a little bit of contact? Yeah. Was it enough to warrant wiping off that goal? I just don't see it. And it's harsh to say the very least. And 4 minutes after that, an absolute disaster. Rovella, perhaps still affected by the goal being wiped off, his head not in it, plays an absolute disaster of a pass back to his center back, and Parma pounces on it, and man scores a very simple goal to give Parma a 1-0 lead in the 6th minute, and it doesn't get a lot better from there. We see Lazio really struggling for most of that first half to create anything. Seems like players just can't string together anything of note. Their passing seems to be a little bit off. Then in the 49th minute, deep into stoppage time in that first half, Lazio is awarded a penalty, a chance for Lazio to level this thing, maybe clear their minds a bit. And, Zaccagni earns the penalty, goes to VAR, and it's ruled no pen. I thought I saw contact. So, again, would love to hear from all of our listeners whether they thought that call, the decision to rule it a non-pen, was fair or not. I saw it as a pen, particularly because it was ruled one on the field. I didn't see it as clear and obvious. I thought there was contact. Maybe I wanted to see it. You all let me know. I thought, again, Lazio on the wrong side of a call there. Very clearly, this ref having his mark on the match. And that takes us to halftime. A substitution, Pedro on for Dele Bashiru. He only gets one half to really make an impact. A couple opportunities into this one, and Parma scores 53rd minute. Just a bit of ugly defending, a mistake, and it's 2-0 Parma. Lazio deep into this one, sending bodies up, and they're attacking. You see players onto the pitch like Chauna coming in there late, but it's a Totti goal in the 80th minute. It's lucky, it's ugly, but it was something, and it gave us life. And we continue throwing bodies up, and unfortunately, late into this one, when you think maybe Lazio has an opportunity to come away with a point, concede in the 91st minute on a counter, it's 3-1 Parma, and that's the way it ends up going. My 3 words to describe this one: could never recover. And this was a Lazio side that couldn't recover from perhaps the disagreement in the Rovella decision, couldn't recover from conceding early in the 6th minute, which we know had been an issue with Lazio early into this season. We see that creep up again in this one. Couldn't recover from just a start that saw them a bit off with their passing, no fluidity. Couldn't recover from their lack of finishing. We saw a bit of what we've seen a lot this season. It's just an inability to be clinical, and maybe couldn't recover from playing a match on Thursday. They are definitely light when it comes to depth right now. They look tired. Billy Bean Fishing on YouTube in the comments says just that. They look tired. Lots of soft passes that gifted possession to Parma. Lots of complacency, something that was common in the past. Just another bump in the road, but we must do better. And I agree. Look, they couldn't recover from a lot, and ultimately it ended up costing us big. I said this match, right? It wasn't about dropping 3 points. It wasn't just about dropping 3 points to a Parma that's in a relegation battle. I think the effects of this are going to be significant when you think about 2 things. One, Rovella picks up a yellow, and so he will be suspended for the match against Napoli, the Serie A match against Napoli that looms large, absolutely looms large. And you think about that one coming up, because that happens immediately after we play them in Coppa Italia. We now see ourselves starting to get tired, lack of depth. We know there's lack of depth in the midfield, and I think that's going to hurt us in a big, big way, and that's stating the obvious. But the other area that this match really kills us is the table. And Lazio had done quite well. Obviously, we've talked about it. Their performance, their win streaks, their ability to pick up points and wins, from the depths of nothing. Unfortunately, we just were able to get through the softest part of our schedule and quite nearly unscathed until we dropped this match. But taking a live look at the table now, Lazio still sees themselves in 5th. 28 points. And unfortunately, we have a whole host of teams that have yet to play. So Napoli took care of business in their morning match today. So they are in first with 32. Atalanta, Inter, and Fiorentina level with Lazio, but they have yet to play their matches. And then Juve now, who has yet to play theirs this weekend, sits only 3 points behind us, an opportunity to go level. And Milan, 22 points, has a chance to crawl right there. And so what makes it particularly frustrating is that our great run of form did not give us any sort of breathing room. And so anytime we drop points, it's going to be felt. But when you drop it against Parma and when you drop it ahead of a fixture list that is going to really, really ramp up in its difficulty. So, here are our matches coming up. Thursday, December 5th, Napoli, Coppa Italia. 3-day turnaround on December 8th. Napoli once again for Serie A. Then we've got on Thursday, December 12th, Ajax. Again, our toughest opponent yet to come. And then Inter, maybe a little bit of a break against Lecce. And then it's Atalanta and Roma. So, man, it was really, really tough. And again, a frustrating one because while we did not play our best, far from it, we saw a Lazio side that just lacked sharpness, looked tired, a host of reasons why that could be. Again, coming off a match a couple days ago against Ludogorets, where we didn't look particularly great. No midfield depth. We were missing Dia. We were without Nuno. So 2 of our starters out, it's going to have a really, really big effect on this side. And so I try to manage what I think about this squad, knowing that. But look, despite all of that, despite our lack of sharpness, you take a look at the stats here, and it just continues to build up on the narrative that this was just really, really frustrating. And this result is really going to piss us off. 72% possession to Lazio. Expected goals, 2.34 for Lazio, 1.55 for Parma. Again, we're up on the expected goals. We got to do better. We got to do better in finishing. This was actually probably the highest expected goals that we've conceded in a really long time. And obviously it was felt in the score line. Total shots, 23-12. Lazio had 23 shots, 8 of those on target, 4 big chances. Lazio missing 3 of those. We just simply have to get more clinical, and we were far from that today. So, when I think about what led to today's disaster, and I hate blaming the ref, but I thought that refereeing played a big part in this one. You wish that maybe Lazio had a better mentality to not be so affected by it, but when you score a worldie like that for Rovella, who is not walking away with a ton of goals, and then scores that brilliant one. It's tough. And then, of course, to concede right away in the way they did, they just never recovered. I think the refereeing, though, to essentially wipe away 2 of those goals, we can debate about either. Maybe think law of averages would see Lazio walk away with one of those calls, which changes everything. My man of the match is really tough to come by in this one too. Another one that I'd love to hear from Laziali and who they thought maybe was the man of the match. It's a lot easier to talk about who underperformed, which was virtually everybody. I don't know. It's tough. I really didn't see a man of the match, if we're being honest. I don't know that one player in particular stood out as being a difference maker. I'd say Pellegrini started off kind of rough. I thought he started off playing pretty poorly, but then in the late stages of the match, I thought he started to be a bit of a protagonist and deliver some nice balls that were dangerous, some of which we should have scored from, which would have provided him an assist or 2. I thought Gila, for a lot of the early stages of the match, was giving Cancellieri a ton of problems, and I thought he had played well, but then we concede, and he had his part to play in one of those goals. it was tough to really nail down a man of the match. But Bidone, whole litter of candidates there. We can start with Rovella, and he has to be a part of the conversation because when he's not sharp, and typically he is. This honestly was one of the very few matches that I can recall where he wasn't at a world-class level. Started with the goal entirely on him for that one. So he plays his part in the race for who the Bidone is. I thought Isaacson was really, really bad. I mean, we were playing 10v11 when he was on the pitch. He couldn't beat his man. He's turning the ball over. He was quite dreadful. I mean, it created nothing. He had a chance that he missed that, again, we had a few chances, but he had one, and it was 42nd minute, Pellegrini playing a nice ball to Isaacson. Keeper makes a brilliant save, but Isaacson should have done better. Outside of that, pretty toothless in attack when it came to Isaacson. I thought when we threw on, Chauna, I thought you saw a lot more from him. Lazzari also pretty poor. I thought, Lazzari, you saw a little bit of the old Lazzari where, he could beat his man, but I thought his ball distribution was poor as can be. And so, of those, I'd probably narrow it down between Isaacson and Rovella. Again, I think Rovella did more positive than Isaacson did, but just given the level of player and how shocking it is when he performs poorly, I got to give it to Rovella today. And man, it's tough to allow myself to really spin anything in a positive way. Big wake up call, probably at the worst time for Lazio. Again, just given that we've got Napoli back to back coming up. I don't know how they'll approach Coppa Italia. This is our first match in that tournament under Baroni. We've seen obviously the consistency in Europa, how he approaches that. I think we've got to put all of our eggs in the Serie A basket right now of these two fixtures, and there's going to be some rotation obviously with Rovella out. So likely he'll get the nod in the Coppa Italia match with some rest coming for him. But big wake up call. This is not a fun podcast to talk about. I expected the 3 points. Obviously, we know with Lazio not to expect anything, and my fault for that. But there's got to be somebody that steps up. I don't know who it's going to be. Typically, in a match like this, Zaccagni had done wonders in our run of form, stepping up when needed. Unfortunately, didn't see a match from him that warranted talking about. So tough one all around. We'll keep this one short. We'll be here. Hopefully, my friend Caleb will return for our next match, which again is Coppa Italia against Napoli, another midweek one for us. Follow us across social media. Always looking for new guests as well. If you're ever interested, let us know. We'd love to have you. We'd love to hear from our Lazio World community. Above all else, sempre forza Lazio.